All right, check it, everybody. Welcome back. We're here at the field market. We have with us Mr. Dominic, who runs the Full Send BBQ.
How's it going?
Hey, appreciate you, man, giving us some time really quick. About 2 hours ago, we actually got to grub down on some of Full Send BBQ. We rated it on our YouTube video, so go check it out. No, we didn't do any kind of review, but it was really good, man. Most of these vendors are super slammed. This guy's got a really good problem because he sold out, when it was an hour ago?
Yeah, so we're like 3 hours in.
Okay, 3 hours in, these guys are sold out, having a good problem. Now he's got a little bit of time to chit chat with us while we're here at the event. If you guys can't really hear us, it's unfortunate because we do have like some live music going on to the left of us with the cameras, but we are mic'd up and we'll do the best we can. So we'll just dive right into it, man. Can you just tell us, let's just start off with Full Send BBQ. Tell us how the name started. Tell us like the origins of Full Send BBQ.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my name is Dominic. I'm with Full Send BBQ. We started right around COVID time. I was working from home. I'm still active duty in the military, but we were working from home at the time, and realistically, my workload was about 4 to 6 hours every day. So I had about 2 to 4 hours of free time if we were compared to like a regular work schedule. And I had nothing to do. I knew I liked to cook. I knew I liked to grill. I knew I liked to smoke meat. So I just started doing it. And I lived in, at the time, my wife and I, we lived in like an HOA governed community. So one of my neighbors tried it, and then from there it was just kind of like a snowball effect. Another neighbor heard about it, they tried it, and I had neighbors, hitting us up for like catering events, so on and so forth. And then from there I decided, if I'm doing something I really like and I'm making money doing it, make a business out of it. So I started my LLC in 2021. And then since then we've just been fortunate enough to do a bunch of catering events, private events, so on and so forth. So yeah.
And can you tell the people at home what style of barbecue this is? Like, how do you guys coin this? What do you call it?
Yeah, so Full Send BBQ is a Texas Filipino fusion barbecue. Now, when we say Texas Filipino fusion, it's kind of specific actually. People think, oh, barbecue's barbecue, but actually Texas Filipino specifically talks about smoking with white oak. So that's what makes it Texas, right? White oak, and then traditionally too, it's salt, pepper, and some garlic powder for traditional seasoning. So that's the Texas style barbecue. Then you take our Filipino traditional dishes back home, like we have the chicken adobo, the tocino ribs, and we infuse that together. So we take the smoke element and merge it with a Filipino element, and then that's how we get the Texas Filipino fusion.
Got you.
Barbecue.
So you cook it the same way,
Yep.
but the flavoring is mainly from the Filipino base.
Pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know EJ could probably agree with me on this. I bet you Dominic has the same problem I do. I asked him just a few moments ago if he was a mixed Filipino. He said yes, and you are?
I'm half Filipino, half Italian.
Right, and I'm half Mexican, half Filipino. And we probably get this all the time where people probably think you're not Filipino, I'm guessing?
Filipino, yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about that? Like how that is kind of explaining that identity. Is there any kind of crisis there?
Yeah, identity crisis?
Surprisingly, yeah, I do get that a lot, especially growing up, like in middle school and high school. People would have mistaken me for like Puerto Rican or a Pacific Islander. Now I've kind of grown my hair out a little bit. People can kind of tell that I'm mixed with something, but they just don't know what it is.
Would it frustrate you at that time?
No, not at all. Because we live in the United States of America. It's like a melting pot of different cultures and different walks of life. So there's all sorts of people here, and it could be anything.
You're from Carson, California, right?
Yep.
A lot of Filipinos out there.
A lot of Filipinos. It's like basically little Manila.
Yeah, no, it is really.
Some parts of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about a little bit about the style of the barbecue. You've talked about kind of the events you guys are going to. Can you tell us a little bit what it means to come to these specific curated events, like these Filipino spaces? And also, is there an envision you see for Full Send BBQ being involved in those spaces in the future to come?
Yeah, absolutely. So these kind of events are pretty vital to us because it's for Filipino Independence Day, and so when we do these kind of events, it reminds us of what our roots are, and being a Filipino American, it's important. And my mom growing up was like, you have to be really good on your tradition. You can't let it go because this generation, it's dying out. So she was really big on holding on to the culture for us.
Right.
And so when we come to these kind of events, we're able to network with other like-minded individuals like us, and then we talk to each other. Like you and I would probably never have this conversation had you not been in line with us earlier. So that's really the big thing, is just networking and just remembering where we're from and what our roots are from too. So,
You're on point with that, because for me and him, one of our main reasons starting off this podcast was we kind of lost touch of our roots and our culture.
Sure, yeah.
That's why this whole thing started. And I can relate to that,
Right.
that aspect for sure.
And I guess when you break that down a little further of like wanting to connect, we try to see what connects us. And we looked at like, we kind of have like, I don't want to say 5 tenets or 5 basic principles, but we kind of have 5 almost subjects that we kind of revolve around. And you doing barbecue is food, and that's one of them we're interested in. So with that being said, the things that connect us, how do you think food plays a role in connecting people back to their roots or just connecting people?
Oh my God, like especially in Filipino culture, what's the first thing like you hear when you walk
Let's
in the
eat.
house? Let's eat. Or did you eat yet, right?
Yeah.
Did you eat? Yeah.
That's kind of our thing, is food brings people together. And you know, one of the catalysts to me starting the business is in my time in my military service, I was afforded the opportunity to kind of travel around the world. So I saw how barbecue was curated in different cultures, and you know, they're cooked in different methods. They're all really good, but the biggest thing that I saw in all those cultures and countries was that it brought everybody together. And that's why we do our barbecue, is we love what it does. We don't care if it takes 14, 16 hours to smoke a brisket. We like the end product, and the end product is, you know, our customer or our patrons, they like the food. And to me, like, that's the ultimate labor of love.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So just touching on that briefly, it made me think of something. Like being a pit master, barbecue takes time.
So yeah,
What would you compare the opposite to that in the cooking realm for someone who doesn't take time? What field are people in where they want to get something done quick?
So in terms of like the food industry?
Yeah.
So I would say like your hibachi grill kind of industry, or your hibachi grill restaurants.
Gotcha.
Those are all things where these guys are loading their trucks up with like 20,000 different individual items and recipes. They're getting their event. They're pulling out this big ass flat top.
Yeah. Just searing all left and right.
All on spot. Whereas us, we kind of, the labor's involved before the event. So it takes like anywhere between 16 to 24 hours to smoke all of our meats. And so the labor is before the event. Once we get to the event, it's pretty straightforward. We just assemble our plates and we hand it out.
That's what I noticed. You guys were quick. They only took like 3 to 4 minutes, which, you know, everyone here, I understand they're busy and operating, but it's always a good sign when you pay for your food and you get it within minutes.
Right.
At a live event.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of boils down to economics. Just being most cost effective. Customers not waiting in line too long for their food.
100%.
That's big for us.
Yeah. So he briefly touched on it. We didn't ask him about it. He is a man of the military. He's in the armed forces.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah, we appreciate you for your forces. That's what gave him the insight to this world outlook. Would you say anything to young Filipino Americans maybe thinking about stepping into? You think it's a good decision, stepping into the armed forces?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, like, you know, when I enlisted, I was still in high school, so I didn't have the most mature mindset. But I would say my biggest piece of advice to you is think long term.
Okay.
You know, don't just think about what you want to do in that moment. You got to think about what you want to do in the future. So definitely weigh out your options. See what you're good at. There's a bunch of aptitude tests online that you can take to kind of see what your strengths are. Just because you're not good in one subject doesn't necessarily mean that you don't shine in another subject. So see what you're good at and see if you can apply that in the military and find a job that can kind of relate to that.
Okay.
That's my biggest advice.
Okay. And can you tell us maybe like a favorite memory you have growing up cooking, barbecue, anything of that realm that kind of connects you to the culture?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of a funny story. I wouldn't say it's a favorite. In fact, it's actually kind of traumatizing. But in the Philippines, when I grew up in the Philippines from 1st to 2nd grade. I lived there for a little bit. I went to school there, and everything. My mom took me there, my brother. And my Lola at the time, you know, I had a pet goose. And so we would feed the goose, and he was my only friend because I didn't speak Tagalog at the time. I felt like an outsider. So he was my only friend. I'd feed the goose, and we had it for about 3 weeks until one day I walk in the kitchen from school, and my Lola from behind, she has a cleaver in her hand, and the goose right here. We'll leave the rest to your guys' imagination, but from there, you know, they grilled the bird.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that kind of stuck to me. Wasn't necessarily a favorite memory, but when I think back on it, you know, I kind of laugh at it because it's my Lola, you know, and that's part of the culture.
Such a real moment, a transparent moment.
That's as real as it gets. Like, how else do you think you get your food in, you know, the grocery store?
Right. That's awesome, man. Hey, once again, Dominic, we appreciate you giving us your time and answering some questions. Hopefully we can connect with Dom in the future. Go check out Full Send BBQ. We'll link everything, of course. You know, we tagged him in the story.
Where can we find you next?
So actually next we're going to be in El Segundo, California at Upshift Brewing. It's going to be sometime between probably mid-July.
Okay.
Because we got a bunch of events for 4th of July and whatnot. But mid-July, we have all of our events and the time and dates posted on our Instagram.
Okay. And you guys do cater, right? Private events, parties, hit them up. They can cater you guys.
Baby showers, steamy clean parties, everything you name it.
And what's your IG handle? Full Send.
Yeah, so it's fullsend.bbq.
Awesome, man. Well, check us out, guys. Catch you later. Awesome, man.